What's up, photo friends? Hope everybody is doing well. Just wanted to kind of check in and go over a recent thrift shop come up that I managed to score at a local Goodwill. So what I've got in my hand here is a Minolta SRT 101. So this is a mechanical single lens reflex 35mm camera that is, to be honest with you, built like a tank, okay? This thing is so robust. Shutter speed dial on the top, film advance lever, film rewind mechanism on the top, cold shoe, mirror lockup, self timer, shutter actuation button, nice big film counter on the top deck. And the film speed dial you lift and toggle to adjust your ASA, which is again a huge window there and very visible. The rear of the camera, you know, you've got your film door, you've got a DIN and an ASA dial on the back, which I actually find to be super helpful. Curtain on the rear here, you know, when you're taking your actuations, film advance, shutter actuation, really very basic and all very mechanical. On the bottom of the camera, what we're gonna find is a shutter, I'm sorry, not a shutter release pin, but a film rewind pin. There is a battery bay which has a lot of grooving on it, so you can actually just, you don't need a coin in order to get in there. You can just use your digits, which is really helpful. Tripod point insert, and then a battery check on and off switch on the lower portion, because we do have this battery, because the CLC system in this camera, contrast light compensation, is a metering system that works with this camera and was a relatively new type of metering system in 1966 when this camera was released, and it was made for about a decade, 10 years or so, with minor variations on a theme. When you look through the viewfinder, very nice and bright viewfinder. It doesn't have a split focusing screen, so I'm going to be honest, for myself, it was a little tricky feeling like I was able to see focus based on the way the focusing screen is built in this one. So the SRT 102 has that split focusing screen on it, which I think for some people might be super helpful. I would find it to be super helpful. And with this particular camera, I got it paired up with a Rocore 58mm 1.2, which is a pretty rare, this is a PG lens, which is a more rare version of this lens, and I've seen some information out there that people are referring to it as a Hawkeye lens, because wow, it's a big piece of glass in there. The one that I got, so I got this paired with this camera for 19 bucks at my local Goodwill, which is really pretty amazing. The camera itself has some really nice aesthetics to it, and overall is very well built. And I've shot it now strictly mechanical without the metering system being used. Shot a roll of film, really loved the results that I got from it. I was just Sunny 16ing, which I've talked about over and over again. So, but wow, just such a beautiful piece of equipment. I think that most people, if they wanted to get into single lens reflex 35mm, this is a depth of field focus preview button on the lower portion of the lens mount here. So man, I feel really lucky that I managed to come across this camera, and it's actually shaped up to be one of my everyday carries right now because of the fact that it is just so mechanical. Aperture is adjusted at the base of the lens itself. Again, shutter speed dial on the top. And when you look through the viewfinder too, you get all of that information. There is the shutter speed information on the lower portion of the viewfinder, which is super helpful to have, which directly affects the meter dial on the right hand side. I can't see aperture numbers, but I do see that it is kind of, there's an effect on the metering system inside there when I've got it turned on. So just really tank mode, right? And especially with this lens with this much glass, she's heavy. I'm not going to say she's lightweight, but I've got that strap on there, and shooting with it has been just a really lovely tactile experience. I've enjoyed the camera tremendously and would encourage anybody looking for a kind of starter 35mm camera. These are really inexpensive. This lens, not super inexpensive, but you can get good Rokkor glass and good Minolta glass out there for this particular mount, which I believe is an MD mount. So would I advocate for this camera? Yes. Is it inexpensive out there? Yes. Would you want to consider getting one? Yes. Because I've really enjoyed buying. So I've got another lens on order right now. I think it's like a more pancakey lens. So I'm excited to get that and share that as well. But yeah, overall, really just and it's such a great example from my local thrift shop. 20 bucks for the whole setup. Woo, sheesh. So anyway, just a quick share, something a little longer than a short, and hope everybody gleaned a little something out of it, and everybody has a great day. Peace out.